I live in this neighborhood, and it's a really calm place. The thing is that I recently have been told that the house that I hang out in, the last guy committed suicide. It has a really shady tree out in the front, so that's why I hang out. So I'm sitting under this nice shady tree with the branches surrounding me, and I hear someone walking across the grass. None of my friends are here, nor is anyone outside. So I think it's my crazy imagination gone wild. Then I hear footsteps on the gravel. So I walk on the gravel path to the backyard and find nothing. I just shrug, thinking that I've gone crazy. I'm walking back to the tree, and I heard this deep, menacing growl that seemed out of nowhere. Then I got pushed. I really hurt my ankle, but I hear the growl again and I bolted. The next time that I went over, I was on end, waiting for something to happen. I was trying to prove it to my best friend, who didn't believe me, so I was waiting. He finally decided that I was trying to scare him and stalked off. Then I saw a shadow of a guy wearing a baseball cap. I watched this shadow wearily, ready to bolt. Then he flung his baseball cap off and strided towards me. The shadow disappeared. I felt this freezing cold essence that just said, "Get away." I was still frozen, no matter the fact the common sense said bolt. The growling started again, and got so loud that my friend could hear it. He came racing back. He later described that I was pale with blue lips and freezing to the touch. I was so scared. This is the second story I have, and it's more frightening to me. It happened once again when I was in high school. My 4 friends, Melanie, Lauren, Freddie, and Ash, my best friend, and I were being bad kids and ditching one of our classes. There was a daycare right across the street that was always empty, so it was a hot spot for lazy teens. We all walked across the street to it, and were hanging out around the backside of it. We were the only ones there. No lights were on in the daycare, and not a single car in the parking lot. I had my back to the building. It was a tan stucco with big tinted windows that you couldn't see into. I was talking to Melanie and Lauren, who are twins, when giggling Melanie screamed and ran from the building yelling, "Oh my gosh, there's a face in the window." She was laughing about it, and then Lauren was like, "Ew, there are." Like I said, my back was turned to the windows. I was like, "What?" I turned around, and it was kind of hard to see at first, but she was right. I bent down to get a closer look. It looked like whatever they were down on their knees, with their hands pressed against the windows and their faces pressed into the window, looking at us. I was kind of entranced until their eyes focused from Lauren to me. It freaked me out, and I laughed, and we left because we were kind of unnerved by it. We didn't put too much thought into it, though, since we were just kids and figured it was other kids inside. But I think back now, and it really freaks me out. Let me explain exactly what I saw. Their faces were ghostly white. Almost reminds me of those robots' faces from iRobot. They had that transparent sort of look. And there was at least 3 of them, and they all looked identical. All I can see was the outline of their faces, their eyelashes, their eyes, and the outline of their mouths. Their eyes were moving about, looking at us, and I could even see the pupils, although there was no color present. Just that transparent white. They each had their hands pressed into the glass next to their heads, and they were so low. At the time, I thought they were on their knees, but there's no way. They had to have been lying on their stomachs, all 3 of them peering out at us, in the exact same position. The building seemed deserted, and there was never a single car in that parking lot, which is why that place was a hotspot for ditching teens. The only thing I can think of is that it was other ditching teens hanging out inside, and when they saw us, they peered out the window to see who it was. But then I wonder, if the building's abandoned, wouldn't it be locked up? So how would they have gotten inside? And why would they all have been in the exact same position. All look identical and all stayed transfixed on us. Other than that, being so white and slightly glowing transparent, how would I have been able to see them so perfectly through that thick tinted glass? That glass was dark, but they were bright, and they never moved. The only thing that moved was their beady little eyes. I'm glad to have found this site. I have several experiences, and I would love to share, starting with my experience within schools here. I live in Las Vegas, and while I was in high school, we were required to take PE for our freshman and sophomore years. Now let's get this straight, I am not a clean person. I don't organize anything, and though I keep a clean appearance, you would never be able to tell me from either of my lockers. My clothes and items are literally just thrown into a pile in my PE locker. Well, one day, I had come in from PE early. There was absolutely no one with me. And bear in mind, there is a 5 to 10 minute walk from the field to the locker room. When I got into the locker room, I was totally alone. And suddenly I heard the door open. At this point, I had just opened up my locker and taken my clothes out, and called out, wondering who it was. No reply. So I walked over, again purely curious, and found that there was no one in the locker room. And I was totally alone. Next thing I knew, I heard a loud slam. And I jumped out of my skin. I went back towards the row my locker was in and noticed all the lockers were closed. I came to my locker and realized the lock was also back on it. So I'm spooked, obviously, but I still unlocked the door, thinking I just must be going crazy. And that's when I opened the door and found my locker neatly organized. My clothes were folded neatly, my phone placed on top, etc. Needless to say, I went as pale as a ghost and grabbed my clothes and phone. I didn't even change. I ran the hell out of there because I had no clue what the heck just happened. Now, there is a story behind this one. As I learned later from several friends, that our school was actually haunted. It turns out there was a fire in the locker room some years ago, and one of the teachers apparently had died. It's been said that the teacher can be seen sometimes, and is also known to do things like this. I guess my locker did not meet their standards. Eerily enough, there was another fire later that year, go figure. My second experience was in college. I go to the local community college, and one day, I get out of an elevator on the second floor of a building, as usual. Looking for my friend, I notice that she isn't there. But this absolutely beautiful girl is sitting there. This girl is just sitting with several books on her feet, on her lap, and the side of her. I turned around for what must have been half a second before realizing, wait, she was cute. I should go talk to her. Well, when I turned around, she was gone. Her 5, 6 books, her backpack, everything. All in the time it took me to turn around. I thought maybe that she had left down the stairs, which were directly beside her. Then I realized, how can someone pack up so many books so easily and rush off down the stairs that quickly? It was impossible for anyone, let alone one lone person. I never did find out her story, but I was also later told by my friend that many buildings, including the one I was in, are haunted on campus. And I am indeed convinced that I laid eyes on a beautiful spirit that day. I was visiting my best girlfriend in Vegas last year, and she has this gorgeous mansion in Henderson, Nevada, 10 minutes from the Strip. The first night, I woke up to the feeling of being watched, but more than that, I was sleeping but saw a dark-shadowed man leaning over me. I figured it was a dream and went back to bed. The next day, I told my friend, and she confessed that her place was haunted. I believed in stuff like that, but I brushed it off. We went out for lunch, and when we came back, all my stuff that was in the closet was thrown onto the floor. Apparently the closet is where it likes to stay, and it was angry I put my stuff in there. Still not believing, I figured it was her little brother or something. I put my stuff back and went to take a shower. That was a bad idea. While I was showering, the shower curtain blew in with full force into me while I was taking a shower, and it scared me. It took all my courage to open the curtain, but there was nothing there. However, the steam on the walls was dripping, and the condensation was red. I went out to the main room and my friend was sleeping. I asked her if she opened a window, but she wasn't even awake, so she couldn't have. I went back into the bathroom and there was a swirl drawn onto the mirror. So we go about our day and I tell her about all of this. She's shocked and simply says, "I guess he doesn't like you. He's never been that bad with other people that have slept over. I really think it's because you are Catholic and you're wearing a cross. I once tried putting candles and holy water in the room, but he knocked that stuff over when I came back in." And I'm thinking, what am I doing in this house? They moved into the house a few years ago and everything was fine. Then one night my friend woke up to the smell of something burning. She walked around, nothing. She got back in bed. She woke up again and her closet light on. She woke up again to her closet light on, the balcony open, and overhead lights on. That's not all. The fire alarm was going off. She gets up, opens the doors, and the alarm goes silent. She figures someone is burning something outside. She was sleepwalking or something, and just gets back in bed. Again, the alarm goes off and the smell of burning smoke or burning hair comes. Her dog at this point is going nutso, barking at her closet, then running out of the room and barking at her room, not going in. This went on for hours until she went into her mom's room, went under the covers and slept it out. Ever since, things have been happening daily. Finally, it was time for me to go. And it was my last night there. Go to bed. No problems with the balcony open, but a large rock holding it only partially open. I go to sleep. I wake up around 3 a.m. and all the lights are on and the television is blasting. And my friend is sound asleep, so I know that she didn't turn anything on. Her dog is staring at the closet, frozen. The balcony is wide open, and the rock is outside on the balcony. If you're thinking that it was the dog, that rock weighed at least 25 pounds. I was freaking out, but just kind of tried to keep calm because he knew when you were scared. So I got up and talked to him, saying, "If you want to watch TV, that's fine. I'm turning down the volume so I can sleep, that's all." I turned it down and went to sleep. That was my experience in Vegas. And I know a lot of other people have weird things happen in Las Vegas. I believed in ghosts before, but this? Unexplainable. Me and my 18-month-old son stayed in room 19207. Let me start off by saying my son is a great baby and is very loving and never gives me a hard time. We arrived on Monday in our suite, and it was amazing. We loved it. As soon as I unpacked, my son started to act unlike himself. He was biting me, hitting me, pulling my hair, and tried to scratch my eyes out. He even started to hit himself, pull his own hair, and pulling on his eyelashes, pulling his ears, and biting himself. He even destroyed the room, meaning he threw everything on the floor. My mother stayed in another suite, and my son was violent to her also. I dismissed it due to the fact that I thought he was just sleepy because he was awake for the whole 4-hour drive here. So bedtime comes around and I pull the covers to put my son into bed, and it was about 8:30 p.m. As I uncovered the covers, there was a fresh blood on my sheets. I was horrified. I called the front desk at about 8:40 and the maid didn't come here until after 10 p.m. When she came to my room, she said that she was so sorry and that she didn't come faster because she was hoping someone else was going to come here instead because she didn't like the room. I didn't pay no mind to it. I thanked her and she went on her way. I went to sleep at about 12 a.m. I had a dream that a blonde woman was trying to overtake my body. I woke up due to the fact that it felt so real. It felt like I couldn't breathe at about 2 a.m. I was saying a prayer and then I felt someone sit on my bed. It was horrible. My heart started to race, so I prayed more. I just thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Tuesday morning, my son woke up the same violent way he had been acting on Monday. He wouldn't eat anything for the time we were in the room. So we went sightseeing and so forth. About 7 p.m. that night, me and my son went to my mother's room on the 22nd floor, and we came back down around 8 p.m. I got my son ready for bed, and he was on the bed waiting for me while I was going to use the restroom. As soon as I opened the door, there was the blonde woman standing there, going through my clothes that were hanging up. She turned her head and gave me the most evil look. I closed the door real fast and had a horrid, eerie feeling. And it made me sick, and the hairs on my body were standing straight up. I ran to my son, ran to the living room and looked for the phone, but realized my son put the cordless phone in the bathroom. I went in there to get the phone, and although she never showed herself to me again, I felt her. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and my heart was racing. I can't explain how I felt, but I was terrified the feeling that spirit gave me. So I called the front desk. They got me out of that room and upgraded me to an apartment-like suite. Me and my son stayed there for 2 more days, and he was himself again, loving, kind, he ate so much. And he was just my well-behaved son. I really liked how the Luxor got me out of that room almost within 10 minutes. They even packed everything for me, because I refused to go back in. I'm not sure I will ever go back there again, but I did like the remainder of my stay. I am just thankful my son's okay. They have great food, great attractions. I did try to ask around to see if someone was murdered, but a local told me that they do not disclose that to public because of a bad rep. So if you stay there, stay away from the 19th floor, 19207 to be exact. Our other room was wonderful, no problems. It's a beautiful hotel. Ghouls, I hope you enjoyed this one. I know Las Vegas is said to have so much paranormalness there, so I tried to spread it out, but most of it all seemed to be Las Vegas, so I apologize if you wanted more of a variety, but these ones were just really interesting to me. The last one was actually a legitimate review left on the site for that hotel, the Luxor Hotel. I had to put it in. The one before that one as well. I really like how the girl spoke to the spirit, because that's what you're supposed to do. You don't be rude. You don't be disrespectful. You're just like, yo, listen, man, I'm gonna just turning this shit down so I can sleep. No worries. That's legit what you do. But anyway, let's see. Secret word of the day shall be lamp. Did I ever say lamp before? Lamp? I was watching, fucking The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars with my preschool class, because it's Friday, so we have a lazy day on Friday, and I was like, fuck, I love that lamp, so it's gonna be lamp. Also, I have a few things coming out with other YouTubers. 2, oh my god, there's actually 2 with Unit, and I mean, me and Unit, man, I'm always in his shit, and I love it. Unit, I tell you, Unit, just tweet me, be like, bitch, do these lines, and I'd be like, sure, bro, I'll do whatever you want. It's to that point. I told him that legit, and he was like, I'm a gentleman, I can't. I'm like, don't worry about it. There's also, I have something coming out with a YouTuber. His name is Darkness Tales. He's been around for a long time, actually, and he has under 100 subscribers. It is not right, because his channel is really good. So go show him some love, because his channel is really, really good. I like it. I don't know, like, the quality is pretty good. His narration is good. His intro's amazing. Like, just go check him out. I'll leave a link somewhere on this page on my end slate. This is long, and I am rambling. I apologize. But as always, my last video will be on the top left. The next video will be on the bottom left. All my social medias are on the screen, as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.